Hey, this is Jordan Binnington, and you're listening to the fellows at Missin Curfew.
Lip boomers. Up
The
dog.
lip boomers.
I came to fucking Aspen. Actually, I got into Canada with them. Then I went to Aspen. I had fucking Cannadips flying around the slopes. To our friends in Canada, I saw something on social media this week. It's coming. The Cannadip lip boomers are going to be in Canada in 2022. I know it in my heart. Uppy, I'm riding the chair with you. You're like, throw me over a lip boomer. They're unbelievable on the slopes, golf course, whatever you need.
Not just the lip boomers on the course, fella. The lip boomers everywhere. I have one of the Winnipeg Jets coming down into the US of A, getting out of Winnipeg in the winter peg. And he's hitting me up because they can't order the things to Canada, right? So I said, of course,
it's coming, baby.
We got you. We're going to load your squad up with some nice Cannadips for the new year. I mean, what better thing to get a nice log of Cannadips? The multi flavors you get, What's your favorite flavor, Obes?
Ooh, tough question. I like to
when
mix
you
them
do
all.
the mixed bag of peas.
I like the tangy. I like the spicy one. I like this one here too, the tropical mango flavor.
That's tasty.
I like the
there.
fucking wintergreen. What else I got over here? I got all kinds of them up, dog. The American spice I like after a nice dinner. Listen, I put them all in one tin and I go fucking see what's what, buddy. I mix and match.
You're damn right. So our friends at CannadipsCBD.com are here for your everyday needs of getting that lip boomer inside that lip and feeling good like Obes and I during a podcast, or whether we're on the chairlift ready to hit Ruthie's downhill twin tip. No big deal.
And I would say I've gave myself my own order because I order Cannadips more than anyone. Do the Obi order. 5x5 California rolls. You will not be disappointed. It's the Obi order. 5x5 Cali rolls. Promo code UPDOG.
Spicy tuna.
Curfew Cali.
That's right, fella.
Boomers.
Curfew Cali.
Welcome back to a fresh new episode of Missin Curfew. I'm Shane O'Brien.
Mr. Shane O'Brien, I'm over here in Aspen still. I'm Scotty Upshaw. I'm from the mountains, the Rockies. And I miss you, bud. I miss you. I got to be honest. It's not the same without my Missin Curfew crew here in that fucking John Denver area of the world. I
appreciate it, brother. I had to get the fuck out of there. I mean, for a couple reasons. It was so dry. And the altitude, I shot myself in the foot, Uppy. I came in hot. Our boy Mac L, good Irishman. I love him to death. You too, Loops, Flowers. I was so excited to see everyone. It was a long travel day. What do? I get absolutely pinned till 5 o'clock in the morning, right? The worst thing you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to come in, take it easy, get acclimated to the altitude. And I just felt like I was behind the 8 ball the whole way, like...
Yeah, you were. Hey, I'm on a ping pong table right now. I'm not on a pool table, but I know the figure of speech. Behind the 8 ball.
I was behind the 8 ball.
You get stuck on your first night hanging out with Flowers and Mac L, who's a creature of
Flowers
humanity.
Is a pussy.
No, I mean, Flowers is a barbarian.
He doesn't even stay out late anymore.
Mac L can go and go and go. So the altitude doesn't affect Mac L. He's one of a kind. He gets up, he gets it done. He hits the slopes. He organizes the dinner. He's drinking the wine. He's just all around guy that can just handle going out till 5 a.m. and getting up and being a pro.
He's hiking the bowl. He's doing it all there.
Obes, I got to tell you a story yesterday. So yesterday, silly old me decides I need to go get a workout in. It's been a long weekend. I hadn't really sweat. But obviously, breathing up here is tough, and I never sit down. So
tying up your shoes is tough up there.
So I decided to go to Highlands and hike the bowl. And then I get a text from our friends at DraftKings, which is great because they're like, they need a segment done from Shane, you and Shane, can you please do this segment for us? And we're always happy to help out our friends at DraftKings, right? So I'm like, perfect. I'm on the way to Highlands. I'm going there to hike the bowl. So I'm going to do a little video for them on the top of the bowl. Well, buddy, I I get up on that top chairlift at Highlands where you start to hit the Groom Blues, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it. I'm going to start to hike the bowl because there's going to be people here, right? I'm by myself, and there's going to be a bunch of people here. Well, there's not a fucking soul in sight, and the wind is howling, and the snow is going everywhere, and I feel like I'm on Mount Everest, and I start walking up this path, and it's like a 30-minute direct hike, about I don't know, let's say 1,500 feet. And I get like, I'm 8.5 minutes into this little trek by myself, and I start to have like a panic attack. And I'm like, I got to turn around. But turning around is like, it looks like death. Like it's going up is one thing because you're looking at the land, right?
Yeah. But
when you go down with ski boots on this hike with the skis on your back, it's like, it feels like you're going to just fall off a cliff. Like a cliff, meaning, a mountaintop. And buddy, I didn't see anyone, so I didn't feel safe. Mind you, I'm not a great skier. One, we know that from listening to the last podcast.
You're a pretty good skier. You go fast. You're like Ricky
and
Bobby.
I think I'm the only one to walk up 10 minutes on that hill and come down. And I was basically like hands and knees crawling, being like, that feeling when you dream and you're on top of a mountain and you can't look over? You ever have those?
Oh yeah.
This was one of those, but it was real. And I got off the mountain and I was freezing my hands because I had my glove off and I was trying to do a video for DraftKings and holy shit.
It was a great video.
So I'm dealing with frostbite and a panic attack. But anyway, I'm here. I'm ready to rock with you. We got a big show and a big guest today, so I'm fired up. But it's nice to just get talking again.
I want to ask you, first of all, I'll give you credit for even attempting the bowl, but have you skied your way out of it? Could you just jump down where you were so you didn't have to walk back down? Could you just ski, or no? You had to just fucking turn around and walk down. No. The walk of shame. The walk of shame.
The way up left is dead. You need to get up to the top to really hit the bowl. Like left is dead. And I know that because the only time I ever hiked the bowl lobes was last year after a night. I think it was my third time skiing ever. I come stay and, a big group of us, and we stay out late that night. And the next day we go up to the top of that chairlift again. And the guys are like, let's hike this bowl. I'm like, okay, I have no idea what that means. So I hike it. We get to the top and we crush a beer because it's satisfactory to be up there and to know that you hiked it. Well, little do I know that you need to be a fucking professional skier to ski down this thing. So I ski halfway, right? I'm with the crew and everything's good. And then I get a FaceTime from Christina and I'm like, I should answer and at least show her where I am, show her I'm a badass. Like I'm on the fucking, on the fucking bull. And all the guys fly past me and I try to answer it. I can't hear. So I hang up and then I try to find the guys, Obes. I get lost. I'm lost for 40 minutes in the middle of mountains with it was
That's
like,
scary, man.
It was like the wild, what do you call that movie with Eddie Vedder who sang Into the Wild?
Into the Wild.
It was me, Into the Wild. I was yelling like, hello, 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 hello. It was
one of those. Hear me.
All I knew was humanity was to the left, and I had to get left somehow. And I started booking it down this fucking cliff, bud. And I 3 or 4 times where finally one human showed up and was like, "Are you okay?" And but I made it, fella. And I got back to the chairlift, and I lived to see another day. And then I thought I'd never do that bowl again. And sure enough, I tried to go up and do it for our friends at DraftKings. Big friends of the pod. And, here in Denver, you can bet. So maybe I was up there on the top of the mountain just looking to put on, a little over on the Toronto-Edmonton game last night. So, it all worked out.
It was a great, it's awesome in Colorado how you can bet through DraftKings. But I got to give some love to my boy Evan Knapp and Praveen. Evan Knapp, Uppy, I was stuck. My flight was canceled on the 2nd, and I just wanted to get home. I've been gone since the 18th. What does Evan Knapp do? And Praveen, they get the bird for me. They let me jump on. He drives me to Grand Junction. Evan, beauty alert, Knapp. I love you. Praveen, thanks for the lift. Aspen, up dog. I don't know. It's unless we get our own private plane, it's tough to get in and out. That's a tough place.
It's kind of what makes this place special, Obes. It's so damn hard to get here. And I'm going to just say this, and I'm right. You have got screwed every damn time you've tried to come to Aspen or leave.
Yeah,
it's something on you. It's a curse, but I tell you, the place loves you. I had a spot here. I'm in my basement, in the new studio. I got the Missin Curfew tarp up behind me. I got the DraftKings toque, and I'm loaded with ski gear here from Missin Curfew. But I always got room for you, fella. If you've missed your flight, you're always getting taken care of here at the Upshall Hill residence, my friend.
I had to get back to the ocean, and it's nice to be home. So Aspen was great. Updog fantasy football. Congratulations to our boy Cody Leibel. You came in second. Fuck Machine Hut. Great run. More importantly, Flowers finishes in fourth, which means he has to fucking pay. If he would have finished third, he would have got his money back. Thank God Flowers has to pay. Got to be happy about that.
Thank God. And let me just clarify something here. I have to clarify this because Flowers and I last podcast, we got a little tussle. It was some heated emotion. He comes on the pod. He's acting all tough and cool. And he wants to get some sort of vengeance on me for beating him in the semifinals. Right. So of course I'm just going to tell all our listeners, I made a bet with Flowers during the pod that I would play him straight up for $2,000. Okay. Well, I thought about it after that. And I said to Flowers, because I hold the upper hand here, and I don't care what anyone says about this, but I hold the upper hand because I beat him. And this motherfucker didn't pay for his fucking fantasy football defeat the year before. And all I said is, Flowers, listen, I beat you fair and square. And I know you've acknowledged that on the pod, but I'm not giving you the satisfaction of this bet. So it's off. I basically called it off right after I did it. It was moments after. And he's like, no, it's real. And I said, listen, I'm just going to be polite about this, but the bet's off. And so, of course, leading up to the day, there's really limited talk. And as we started, I said, the bet's off. Because you know what? If I beat him, I wasn't going to take his cash. And he wasn't going to pay me anyway, let's be honest. So when he comes on the pod again, because, he's writing us proposals on how Larry Flowers thinks he can help.
He wants
help the show Missin Curfew. Okay, so when he comes on again and tries to talk about this bet, just so our listeners know, I wasn't giving him the satisfaction, and that's what I'm sticking to.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to her. Yeah, Flowers wants in. I said, Flowers, you can do as much as you want, but you ain't getting paid. Congratulations.
So I do want to give you credit for our week here in Aspen. You set up our studio. We had the 6th studio set up at the Limelight Hotel. You dialed it into the max. I know it cost our Missin Curfew a little chunk of change, but that's all right. We take care of it. We're a road crew. This is what we do. We hit the road. We usually have Max and Binger and Al with us, but fuck, we did it up ourselves. And we did it in Aspen, fellas. So we got to be proud of that. But thanks to our listeners for dealing with us last week with no video and stuff. We appreciate your patience. And now you can find that show on YouTube, and all's good.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of our social media videos from Aspen, fuck up, dog. I was taking more heat than you. I was taking some big heat about my Montclair boots. I had some fucking haters coming at me. And I just want to tell you, all you guys out there on social media, we love the hate, but I'm telling you, those are National League boots. They are National League boots, no matter what way you slice it. So for all you haters out there, and up, dog, a couple people were hating on your jacket, which I thought was National League beyond National League. So all you fuckers out there hating on our Montclair gear, it's fucking National League, isn't it, Uppy?
Probably the people hating, they can't even pronounce it. They're probably like Montclair. You don't even know until you wear that puffy jacket, Obes, or you lace up those nice fucking boots that you had on. Sometimes nice. You just got to look good, feel good. Look good, feel good. Podcast, real fucking good.
It was a great week at Aspen. Uppy. We pulled it off, like you said. I've learned from my fantasy football. I'm looking forward to next year. I think I've really learned from my mistakes, or I'm just shit at fantasy, one of the two. But I mean, I'm just glad that Flowers has to pay. Thank God. Daddy, way to take him down, honest, baby.
To talk about the finals, I didn't put in my best running back Singletary, and I had Josh Allen feeding him fucking walk-ins on it. So I messed up. I was so happy that I had beat Flowers the week before that I basically my finals was my semifinals, and I'm gonna walk my days knowing that I took Flowers down in his own little Larry Bettman fucking fantasy football league, and that deservingly right, I was the one that took him down.
well said, and you sure did. So, Up Dog, moving on here, buddy. Our first segment is brought to you by our good friends at GoodLife. It's the old Winter Classic recap. Now, if we would have went to that fucking thing, we would have had to order so much GoodLife gear. We would have had to contribute. We would have had 4 layers on. I mean, it was freezing to the fans. To the fans of the St. Louis Blues and the Minnesota Wild, I knew they had 2 great fan bases to begin with. Uppy, playing in Minnesota was one of my favorite buildings to play in. The ice was great. The fans were always good. They never had a team that had too much firepower up front, so you knew you probably weren't going to get dangled. For them to sit through that whole thing, it was unbelievable. Our boys, first and foremost, let's start off, Dirty Honey. I mean, that was fucking National League, man. They were out there. The hair was flowing. Did they not look like rock stars?
They are rock stars.
That's what I mean.
I'm happy to say that we are a little step in their path to greatness in the hockey world. And Mark LaBelle, John Nato, 2 beauties who came on our podcast, brought their guitars, took the time out of their day to launch a new song with us in the studio you're sitting in. For them to get that gig for the Winter Classic. And I know, as we get into the Winter Classic, you and I a little bit, and I love it. I've had one experience, Busch Stadium, epic, but freezing rain. So you talk about Midwest fans. We had Chicago and we had St. Louis fans there, basically just tortured with freezing rain, right? Being a hockey player on that's one thing. You got to go out there for the 60 minutes. But when you're a fan sitting in the third base bleachers, just getting peppered with freezing rain, trying to watch a hockey game from 300 yards away, it's tough, but it's great on them. It's great that they do this. So like you said, to all those fans, well on you. We need you. Hockey needs you. To the fucking Dirty Honey boys, you just keep killing it. I'm telling you, we've had a lot of good press around them. A lot of people loving their show. A lot of people knowing that there's good young rock bands want to be involved with hockey. The NHL needs that. Nickelback, slide aside. All right. We don't need you anymore. You fucking put your rock star tunes fucking out the door. We got Dirty Honey, baby. And Dirty Honey, Mark LaBelle, champ. Fuck, he can skate well too. Good little lefty. He can fly.
I will say this about the fans. There's not enough Crown Royal in the history of the world to keep me in that fucking watching that game. I don't give a fuck who's playing. Unless it's my kid or maybe one of my buddies, or I don't even know then. I'm trying to get in the suite. But there's not enough Crown Royal in a flask to keep me out there. And to Mark LaBelle, man, that guy fucks. I mean, when they started the game and he was singing with that voice on the frozen ice, I was like, this is National League. So congratulations to those boys. Uppy, I want to give you my 2 cents on the Winter Classic, and this is probably not going to be a popular opinion, but I don't give a fuck.
That's all good.
I watched it, and it was freezing cold. I talked to the Fact Daddy after the game, and he said his right ear, he couldn't even lay in bed after. And it's not even about that. I'm looking at it as a player. I never really had too much interest in playing it. I'm sure if you had kids and having your mom and dad there, like you said, it would have been something. I'm looking at it straight from a fan now. Uppy, we talk about, we got ESPN, we got the boys on TNT doing their thing. We're trying to build this game on television. It sucks on TV. The camera's too far away. You can't see the players. The puck is bouncing. It just, to me, it's sloppy hockey. The camera's not great. I think the NHL, listen, the Winter Classics have been amazing for the NHL. I think when they started them, it was something that the NHL needed. They've made money on them. They hit a home run with it. I think it's lost its luster. I think you do these outdoor games. Don't worry about getting 60,000 people in there. And you said this, Uppy, take me to Lake Louise with some fans, but with cameras everywhere. Sick cameras, like, I don't know, in the snowbank or here or there. Like, they got to find something that's built for television to get more eyeballs on this game, on our game, on TV. Because, Uppy, we know live hockey is the best thing in the world. I just think they need to think of a better idea for on-television production than the Winter Classic.
I agree, Obes, and I'm going to go so off the deep end. As you were just getting into that, I started writing a few things down, and this is fucking hilarious. Maybe it's the wine talking, but why does the WWF kill it with Royal Rumble? Why does pay-per-view, why does Dana White run? It's the fucking Royal Rumble. Okay, we need to find a Royal Rumble. The NHL needs to find the Royal Rumble. Okay, Dana White, why don't we bring him in? How do we orchestrate a pay-per-view event like fucking UFC can do every other Saturday night with their athletes, their big guys. We have McDavid, we have fucking Matthews, we have big guys. How do we not be able to do a pay-per-view event where you integrate fucking, maybe it's the X Games, like you just said. Well, maybe we're in Lake Louise and we're on this fucking beautiful lake and there's a mountain with a half pipe. And all of a sudden you got fucking, Mark McMorris, Canada's best snowboarder, fucking doing triple backflips over the ice. And you integrate like this whole nature of Canada, and I'm not just being Canada, we're a US podcast here, but just bring in the sport of hockey and the winter part of it. Like, instead of just being stuck in a stadium, worrying about the 60,000 fans who are freezing their balls off, why not we have this integrated, beautiful, something that on TV, Obi, looks just epic. Like you're watching one of those videos on Instagram of a skier going through the fucking woods that you're just like, wow, the nature looks so beautiful. Imagine watching the best hockey players in the planet play hockey on a spot so secluded and beautiful that it would take helicopters and drones to get there. But all of a sudden you're like, wow, they're playing a sport that's been around for hundreds, hockey over 100 years. And they're doing it on this nature pond. And we're fucking got ESPN and fucking TNT and UFC behind it somehow. Something like that. I don't.
And that's my
something just like you said.
Yeah, and that's my point. And that's my point too. Like, and I guess they tried it last year, right? We went there. We went to Tahoe for the outdoor game, and the NHL dropped the ball, and they had the fucking face off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the fucking ice melts on them. Like they were trying to think outside the box. And Uppy, I'm not saying cancel the Winter Classic because I think it makes money for the league. I know it makes money for the league, and the players seem to like it. That playing, they seem to love it. Keep the Winter Classic. I'm fine with that. I don't personally love it, but I think they need to start thinking, what can we do for an event that shows how good our game is on television? Because we know how good it is live. That's the best sport in the world live. If we want to generate more revenue and get these players making even more money, and we've talked about it, Ups, it's television. And I don't have the answer. I wish I did, but I think, like you said, Lake Louise on an outdoor rink with some fans with tons of cameras, or I don't know, these special places around North America or even in Europe. Don't worry about getting 70,000 fans in there. Worry about getting as many eyeballs on the game and these people being like, wow, hockey's great on television.
No, I agree, Obes. And I think, you know what, I'm going to take a shot at maybe the PA here. It's going to take players and opening up to really make TV become like something that everyone wants to watch. The players need to engage with the staff that has the cameras and with the staff that has the microphones, or the in-game microphone. Like, I want to hear these fucking players chirp. I want to hear their real thoughts behind, closed doors. To me, it's a full team effort. The NHL, call it what it is. Gary Bettman, a lot of people love him. Our old fucking partner and boss, Kevin Connolly, thought fucking, Gary Bettman was the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know about that, but
I got some lockouts that disagree.
But sometimes, there has been growth, but fuck, man, we're sending people to fucking Mars on spaceships with no astronauts. We got to be able to find a way to fucking have people tune in to fucking NHL hockey and love it. Like, I'm sitting here now. I got you, my boy, on my fucking iPad talking to you. I got the NHL game on here. I want something that's going to bring me in every night. And DraftKings and being able to bet live and pick, first scores in the night and having, odds boosts and all that is great for sports and engaging people. But it's the NHL's job now to really take this thing from a TV level and expand it. Let's bring this into households somehow.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong. It's a great outdoor spectacle. Is that the right word? Spectacle? Is that right? It's great. Like when I was in my bed in fucking Aspen, hung to the gills in my nice warm bed with my tomato soup, and I fucking had it going, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty great, right? Like, you saw the 8 outdoor rinks and all the kids playing. I'm like, this is awesome. All the fans there. And then the game starts, and I'm like, maybe I was a little hung cheese, but I'm like, I can't see the puck. What number is it? There's, I'm just like, to me, they need to figure out a spectacle like that looks good on television. I don't know. I'm probably wrong on this one. Everyone has been disagreeing with me, but it's something that I wanted to talk about, Up Dog. And I will say this about the Winter Classic, though. And you got Binner coming on later. The fucking St. Louis Blues beach outfits, Uppy. That fucks. Oh. That fucks. Fact Daddy had the fucking chest hair flowing.
How about our guest that we have on today, who's an absolute legend? How about the shades? I'm talking all the guys had the shades on, but those power shades that the MLB guys start to wear now, I don't know what you call them, but our boy Baba Ganoush, PJ McKay.
Big guy.
He's rocking these like Oakley big boy, like Miami Vice shades. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I saw a couple girls that were working the chairlift in Aspen had them, like just like monster, or in Aspen, like monstrous shades.
Well, buddy, let's just, now that we're on the topic of fashion, how great is it just hitting the mountain in Aspen where all these, I just went out and bought a new outfit, but the girls, the way they dress, you keep your head on a swivel, not to get hit by a skier, but just because there's a lot of talent out here.
The old snow bunnies are, they're out there. They're in full force. So,
the snow bunnies are
the Winter Classic. Congratulations to the Blues. You guys fuck. It was unbelievable. I can't wait to talk to Binner about it. It was so fucking cold. I can't wait to see what he has to say. But that was presented by our good friends at GoodLife. Hey, the Winter Classic, I think it's time we look outside the box, but still, it was unbelievable. Up dog. It brings into our next segment. The Oilers here, it's a fucking shit fest up there. I mean, I had them winning the Pacific. You took Vegas. I didn't know Vegas would trade it for Jack Eichel. Had I known, I probably would have changed my pick, but that's neither here nor there. Listen up, dog. They've won 2 wins, 9 losses, and 2 OT losses in their last 13 games. McDavid's in COVID protocol. Tippett's chirping the fucking Finnish goalie that stole your number at training camp. That guy's chirping Tippett back. That guy, Koskinen's chirping Tippett back saying, Uppy, what's going on? Are the Oilers done or what? Do they need to make a trade? What's going on?
Let me just look into this magic saber-tooth, fossil that Flowers bought here while he was in Aspen and see if it has a story for me to tell about the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know what's going on in Edmonton. All I know is I knew at the start of the year, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, were a better team than the Edmonton Oilers for a long haul stretch. Now, to me, when you have the 2 best players in the world and you can't figure it out, don't start selling the farm to maybe bring in a goalie because it's not going to work. Your team is now 3-4 years behind where things should be. Kenny Holland, great GM. You did amazing things in Detroit. Amazing things. You brought in Dominic Hasek and you took your team to another level. You've had Steve Yzerman, Datsuk, Zetterberg, Fedorov. So don't sell the farm right now to bring in a goalie. You need draft picks to get this team out of the funk that they're in. You just don't have the makeup. Unfortunately, I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan. I dreamed of playing for them, and I almost did until I blew my knee out trying to chase Connor McDavid around in practice. But, Obi, we all know the secret's out. Just because you have the 2 best players on the planet, it's a long year, 82 games. Right now you have Connor McDavid in COVID protocol. Your team looks drastically different. Like you brought in Hyman, great pickup. You got Nurse on the back end, Duncan Keith, Tyson Barrie. Those guys are good players, but you don't have the makeup of a team that's just going to hand every piece of a building block to bring in a goalie just to fix things. It's a Band-Aid on a fucking wound that won't stop bleeding, won't stop bleeding, Obi. I don't think it's their year. And it's proven that your 2 players aren't going to, although they were on pace for 200 points each, you're not going to make the playoffs just relying on those 2 guys. It's a full team effort. You need teams like Tampa Bay, Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Florida Panthers, you need deep squads, 4 lines, teams that just stick up for each other. Connor McDavid's getting fucking worked in New York the other night.
Yeah.
Revo's working him. He's getting beat up in front of the net. Who steps up? Cassian's not in the lineup. Like, you need guys to step up. Big teams and Dave Tippett, it's not Dave Tippett's fault, but Dave Tippett has always had players on his team. Listen, Tippett coached. It's
kind of Dave Tippett's fault too.
He and I didn't get along great. And I'm not saying I was the best player on our team. But he's an honest guy. he's always had guys play hard for him. No one's playing hard in Edmonton right now. No one's sticking. When Connor McDavid's getting abused and Leon Draisaitl's not like at his best, and you need guys to step up. Who are those guys? Yamamoto? No.
There you
Is
go.
it Payarvi? No.
The two guys, if I'm Kenny Holland that I'm fucking trying to trade right now, and I doubt he could, is Puljujarvi. He's giving this kid every opportunity. I think he's improved. And that Yamamoto. Those two guys, if he can fucking move a piece of those two to get anything, I would trade both of those guys. Updog, I never played for Tippett. I'm going to put a little bit on his plate. I mean, you have the two best players in the world. I don't think he strikes fear into anybody on that locker room. And I'm not saying bring in John Tortorella, and there's some rumors about Mike Babcock, but I do think they need somebody to come in there that holds them a little bit more accountable. I don't know about the accountability in that dressing room. I think sometimes it starts with Connor, best player on the planet, still learning how to win. I think he needs a coach to come in there and maybe help them out. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's going to cost me a fucking dinner at Nobu that I'm going to have to treat you to.
Baby.
Because there's no way they're winning the fucking division now. Prove me wrong, but Vegas is humming. Ikes is going to come back. Updog, you were right. You were right. Their power play was clicking at 50% to start the year.
60.
Their offense was so good that it was covering up the holes that they had in their team. And you said it. You said, Obi, they don't have enough depth. And I said, I think they do. And I think their back end's good enough. As of right now, I was wrong. But this is no disrespect to Dave Tippett. I think he's a smart hockey guy. I'm sure he's a good guy. If I'm Kenny Holland, I'm thinking, hey, yeah, I need a goalie, but do I need to really, maybe I got to shake this whole thing up.
No, you're right. And I think it starts, unfortunately, with the coach. It does. And coaches are hired to be fired unless you win and you host 10 Stanley Cups in fucking 20 years. Your time is up. When you have the two best players in the planet, Shane, you need to provide winning hockey all the time. Now, when your goalie hangs you out to dry in the first period, if you want to chirp him, you got to know that it's coming back to you. Yeah. It is.
The ball's on that Koskinen for chirping.
Because you know what? Koskinen's not going in and saying this guy's a fucking, he coached a shitty first period. You know, like he cost us, he fucking too many men the one fucking time and we lost the game by one. No, people don't say that about the coach. So like you said on your show today, as soon as you're a coach and you start pointing out fingers to players, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's slipperier than that fucking slope I ran off doing the twin tip down fucking
Uppy.
Aspen Mountain. I was killing myself.
I will say this. Had Dave Tippett not acted the way he did in that press conference and throw Koskinen under the bus, which I don't blame him. Listen, there's many nights I've had money on the Oilers through DraftKings and my fucking DraftKings Sportsbook app. And I'm like, this Koskinen, I can't believe he stole Uppy's number. He's fucking terrible. But I'm a fucking washed up defenseman living in Newport Beach. I'm not the head coach of the hockey club. When you see Dave Tippett go, what do you want me to say? Our goalie was terrible. We needed to save. Yeah, Dave, you probably did. But to me, Updog, it looks like there's some heat coming down. It's like the seat's getting a little hot there. Even Dave can't keep it. Like he's probably, you know this, one of the calmest, coolest guys in the league. I think he's feeling the heat, Updog.
Yeah, he is. And you know what? I of course, you know, I'm reading stuff in Edmonton. I read his comments and, you know, he's trying to take care of a burning building inside the dressing room when the fans are dealing with everything and thinking he needs to get fired, right? And he's, you know, his remarks about Kenny Holland being a good guy and it'll all work out, like whatever. Unfortunately, like, you just don't have the team. I just don't think they have the team.
Updog, you called it, brother. You called it.
And you don't. Like, you're playing hockey teams that are bringing heat. Heat. And then when you only got, I like to bring the heat too, as our guest is going to probably talk about after this interview. It's unfortunate, Obes. I think this week is if the Edmonton Oilers don't turn this thing around and they're 2-9, I believe in their last fucking 11 games, things are going to get shaken up in Edmonton. Yeah, and it's not going to be shaken up with a little sunshine. It's still going to be cold for a while.
And in Dave's defense, missing Mike Smith for as long as it did, it hurt them a lot. Smitty's obviously he's the better of the two goaltenders. He's big in that dressing room. And maybe I'm putting too much heat on Dave Tippett, but I just think like with the two best players on the planet, arguably, I don't know, Updog, they're sitting at 38 points. I mean, the Ducks got more points than them. and I love Dallas Aikens, but I mean, I don't know.
The Ducks are great, though.
The Ducks are great. I
now.
love watching the Ducks. I love watching the Ducks. I don't know. I just think if they don't start winning games here soon in Edmonton, we may see a change up. So, anyways,
will we ever see?
It's going to cost me fucking a $500 dinner at Nobu is what it's going to cost.
I know
me.
might cost you that, but that's okay. We'll put it on the Missin Curfew bill. Will we ever see in our day of being podcast members a trade me situation between Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid? What do you think?
Fucking rights we're going to.
Right?
Yeah. And I mean,
how do they put up with this?
I mean, if you're Connor McDavid, and I think Connor, being a Canadian boy, an Ontario boy, he really wants to bring another cup to Edmonton. But I think, it's too early for that now. But yeah, if you're Connor McDavid in 3 or 4 more years, if you're still in this situation, like, boys, come on, I'm in my prime here. I'm in my prime.
I think you're wrong. I think 3 or 4 more years is looking at when we're going to fucking live in outer space and fucking have life on Mars. This is going to happen sooner than later.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to happen in hockey. I think it needs to be something that's addressed. Like, if you're the best player in the world and you can't put a team together that can get through a fucking playoff run to compete for a Stanley Cup, is it on you? I don't think so.
I'll tell you what didn't help last night against the Leafs either is a healthy Connor McDavid not being able to play, sitting in fucking COVID protocol. If I hear COVID protocol anymore, I'm going to fucking break my iPad and you have to get me a new one through Missin Curfew. Like, if I'm Dave Tippett and my team is in this fucking shitter and McDavid played 25 minutes the night before at MSG and flies to Canada and now he has COVID and you're telling me he can't play, I'm like, we've lost fucking 2 of 12 here. I need my best player in the lineup. They played a decent hockey game last night against the Leafs, but Connor McDavid is sitting in COVID protocol when he's healthy and could be flying out there.
Okay, so this is the conversation that needs to be had. Why doesn't Dave Tippett in his press conference fucking go off on that and not on Koskinen?
That would have been epic.
Right?
That would have been epic.
Trudeau.
Then he would have got fined.
Who cares? Tippett's got lots of money. He's a smart guy.
I'm with you.
Who cares? Let's be real. The fucking Connor McDavid's not sick. He's fucking playing. He's our best player in the fucking league. Let's go.
And I would have been like, Dave, if I was Dave Tippett, I'd be like, unless McDavid's leg falls off, I don't care about COVID. He's playing tonight, okay? He's playing. I would have went to the trader and been like, hey, get a fake fucking test here. This guy's playing because we've lost 2 of 12, all right? And Connor, we need you tonight. But
you and I are on the same page with this whole thing. And so is half the fucking planet, by the way.
I tell you what, I was watching a game the other day. And I'm not going to mention the guy's name, who it was, but I text this guy and he's not, I'm like, you banged up or COVID protocol? He's like, COVID protocol. How you feeling? He said, I'm fine. I'm sitting down here. I could play right now. What?
I had the same conversation with a different guy.
Like, fuck off.
Fucking 3 days ago.
It's embarrassing. I flip on, and this is no disrespect to American League hockey players. I played over 300 games in the jungle. That's a great league with great players that never get the opportunity to get to the NHL for whatever reason. I flip on the Ducks Flyers game Tuesday night, and I got the Ducks at -160, and I flipped the game on, and they go through the first line, second line, third line, fourth line, and I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here? Who's number 70? Who's number 57? Who's number 62?
Of course.
They're all fucking like in protocol, and I'm like, for me, I was worried about my bet through DraftKings Uppy, but at the same time, and I talk about selling the game on TV, and I know it's the Anaheim Ducks, and it's California, no one cares. Do we want people to turn on the game and see a bunch of American League guys out there? No, we want the best players in the world playing. That's what makes our league the best. And it's no disrespect to those guys, man. But it was just like...
No, it's not disrespect to those guys, because if you ask all of them, they'd all play no matter what.
Yeah, I know. And thank God Gibby stood in his head and I won the bet because the Flyers are in one too. But
yeah, well, Gibby's good. And the Oilers would pay whatever. They would fucking...
God.
What would the Oilers do for fucking Gibson right now?
They'd give him the key to the city. But I believe in Mike Smith. Smith will get him going. Oilers Nation, come on, man. It's cold up there right now, Uppy. Then you got to start playing better. And plus, I don't want to take Uppy to Nobu because, fuck, if he brings his girl the sake flows, it's going to be about $1,000 night.
She likes the sake. I can't stand it. She gets vicious when she drinks the sake.
Up, dog. Listen, here at Missin Curfew, we chirp people. We've been chirped a lot in our career, but we'll when we make a mistake, we'll admit it. Jack Hughes, we ripped him when he signed that deal. He's shoving it up our ass, Uppy. He's got 9 points in his last 5 games. To Jack, way to prove the boys wrong, I guess, Up Dog. I think we should take credit and get him going maybe, but ever since the 64 bananas up, he's been fucking.
I don't know if we chirped him.
I felt like I chirped him.
Or the actual foundation that things are built on now with the NHL and paying young kids before they actually do anything. Jack Hughes, you're a badass player. You're the new NHL.
He's playing great.
You've pioneered the game at an elite level for your age, and you're fucking number one draft. You deserve a nice paycheck. Now, for me, I just want to see these kids fucking do something first before they do it. Now, Jack Hughes, he's a good young player, like you just said. He's shoving it up our ass, 9 points in 5 games. Long Eurobes. I remember coming off injuries where I had a month and a half to sit back and go chase the fine things.
You felt fresh.
And then get in shape again and then get the knee ready or the ankle ready. And then you go out and you catch fire right away. Now, I'm also not a guy that gets to play 6 minutes on the power play and fucking toe drag everyone and do that. So God bless him for that. But bucket's a lot of money. You got it 64. Now you got some fucking heat. Now you got to be a guy that brings your team, not just 9 points in 5 games, but you bring the New Jersey Devils out of a funk into the playoffs, give the fans what they want, little playoff run where, Travis Zajac and Zach Parise and those boys back in the day fucking had a couple playoff runs for those fans. That's what you need to bring. When a $64 million check shows up at your front door because you can fucking, toe drag and your flash and your everything the new NHL is, you got to bring your team to another level. You got to bring your city to a place where they think they're going to win a championship. And that's what I hope these young kids realize. I hope they know that these big contracts and this big money isn't just fucking nice leather jackets and fucking Gucci loafers and shit. It's now you got a chance to fucking make a name for yourself in a city that believes in you because they're paying you for it.
Yeah, I know that's a great point. When you get that contract, eventually it's going to have to turn into playoff success and knocking on the Stanley Cup door. But to Jack, you've been doing some fucking Up Dog. Help me out with this guy's name. Provorov. Is that how I say it? Provorov?
Provorov.
He's played 403 games straight in the National Hockey League, which I find, as I know, that's hard to do. To play 403 straight for me, mine was more healthy scratches than injuries, but yours was injuries.
That's 6 years basically in a row. 6 years of hockey in a row without missing a game.
He missed his first game due to a fucking positive COVID test when he was asymptomatic. I'm doing my milk carton. I'm putting the NHL, NHLPA, and the NHL testing protocol on the fucking milk carton. You blew this one, the whole thing. The guy's healthy. 403 games in a row, Up Dog, and he has to miss it because he's not sick, but have a stupid positive test.
Let's just blame Fauci for this one. Fuck him. You know what?
I'm putting the NHL testing on COVID testing on the milk carton.
By the way, when I was in Philly for the alumni game, I got a hattie there. I used the fucking, I took a stick out of the stall, Provorov. This guy's got a curve, Obi, that you'd write home about, right? Like back in the day, you're getting the 2-minute minor and sent to the box for a legal curve. This guy's got all the tools. I never knew he had 400 games in a row going. 400. But to hear this, it upsets my heart. It upsets me because I know how hard it is to play hurt.
Let the boys play.
COVID. I know how hard it is to fucking tell your coach when he asks you, can you go? And you don't know if you can, but you say yes. And you go play. And all of a sudden it looks good on you because you know what? You just deal with the pain. And now you're not being able to deal with pain. You're fucking sitting there because some stupid fucking Chinese flu is keeping you off the fucking bench to compete with your boys, to make a living for your kids, to have kids fucking show up to the fans and start. I don't know. We're getting to it. We're getting into this again.
Let the boys play. Provorov, I feel for you, buddy. Milk carton. Up Dog. Top titty, baby. Listen, TK444 won it. Apparently, shout out to my boy Shane Taylor, the franchise we call him, Big T. Text me. Last week, Donks won it, who's from Cobourg, Ontario. Ron Caffin apparently is TK444. He wins the top titty. Back-to-back, Cobourg, Ontario, top titty winners. Donk said in Cobourg they know how to fucking drink beer and watch hockey games and pick winners. So I guess they do, baby, because they're fucking back-to-back top titty Cobra Ontario. Shout out to Kelly's Home Like. That's where they hang out, drink their beer, and watch the games. Fuck, pretty impressive.
I don't know, but if you go on a streak like that, you should be able to go out and chase some titties. If we're going to throw these boys up in there in Port Hope, Ontario, in that area of the world, I hope they're able to go out and chase it. Go to the local pool hall, maybe Boston Pizza, have a Boston Brute and a fucking big old schooner, and just enjoy the finer things in life where you get to, pick up a random whatever, get a couple numbers, you and your boys. I hope Canada gets back to normal. We miss you. We miss real life up there. I know all my boys that I talk to and all the girls I talk to up there, they're fed up with it. Let's just get it out there. It's a joke.
TK444. Congratulations on your fucking win. This week at the Top Titty, we only got 2 games. We got the Calgary Flames at the Carolina Hurricanes and the Capitals at the Blues. I'm going to stock up on Flames and Hurricanes, and then you got to take one guy from the other game. I'll probably take O'Reilly from the Blues. But 2 games, Top Titty, Flames, Hurricanes, Capital Blues, TK444, Ron Caffin. Have one at the Home Like for me, buddy. Put it on my tab. I still got the tab running there, up dog. Still got it running.
You should. As you should. That's respect. I think every Earls across the Western Hemisphere, I think I still got an open tab. Some I've paid my tabs, some I don't. But
some I don't. Up dog, we got our lock of the week. DraftKings, Saturday night, lock of the week. Do you got the games up there, fella?
I actually don't have the game
we got
up here for the lock of the week, but this is what I do have on, Obes. I have the Tampa Bay fucking Calgary game on right now, and Kucherov is back. He just threw the sickest fucking cross ice pass to Braden Point for a tap-in city on Markstrom. 2-0 Tampa going.
Pull up the games on Saturday, fella, if you can.
Okay, on Saturday. Here we go.
You got them? I'll go first. Lots of games up, dog. DraftKings lock of the week or lock of the night. Fuck, lots of games ups.
What do you got, Obes?
All right, I got it. Fucking Bruce, there it is. Bruce, there it is.
Bruce, there it is.
I got Vancouver Canucks at home against the Ottawa Senators. Canucks 16 and 15 and 3, 7-0 under. Bruce, there it is. Canucks at home against the Sens. DraftKings lock of the night.
Mr. O'Brien, Saturday lock of the week, an event I always look forward to. Our boys at DraftKings and ladies at DraftKings. I am taking a mammoth of a hockey game here. Toronto Maple Leafs at the Colorado Avalanche.
Wow, that's a game of the night. I'm watching that one. We got the
Maple Leafs who are 22-8-2. They're leading the fucking East. They're feeling good. And I got the Colorado Avalanche 19-8-2. Boy, they're buzzing. Boy, our boy Makar. We didn't even talk about his goal the other night. It was fucking epic. Wow. One of the best goals I've seen by a modern defenseman in my day. I can't say I've seen a better goal. I'm taking the Avs at home, fella.
Love it. You want?
I love it too. And I'm going to fucking bet them huge.
I'm going to hammer the Avs in that game because a couple months ago they went in and fucking Darcy Kempfer got hit with a puck in morning skate and they ended up getting smoked 8-1 in Toronto. So the Avalanche are going to be humming for that game. Updog, I love that bet. Updog's got the Avalanche in the night of the game. Avalanche Maple Leafs, Saturday Night Hockey Night in Canada. That's the night of the game. And I got Bruce there. That's it is.
Game of the night. Game of the night.
What did I say?
Night of the game.
It's a game of the night. It's a fucking game
it's so
of
good,
the
though.
night.
I love it.
I got Canucks. Bruce, there it is. Keep it humming. Updog, love you, buddy. You got a great guest coming up for us now. An absolute legend, a guy you've talked a lot about since you got to know him. He's a great story. He's a gamer. We got Jordan Binnington coming at you. Updog, DraftKings, baby. They're everywhere. We're using their app in the great state of Colorado. It's clean. It's fresh. It's National League.
It sure is, Obi, and I love throwing in those last-minute live bets. It's unbelievable. What a foundation. What an app. And we just need to explain to our listeners and NFL fans, the fantasy football season doesn't end with week 18. The playoffs are a new shot to win big cash prizes at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. And this week, new customers can play free for millions with their first deposit. So don't sit on the sidelines, fellas. Get in the game, Obes.
Get in the game out there. Playing daily fantasy football is simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars while staying under the salary cap. That fucking salary cap up, dog. And score enough points to bring home cash. And a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. You'll feel the NFL action like never before. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
I thought you'd never say that because that definitely is best of all. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code CurfewKings to play for free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code
CurfewKings
to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Do not miss out. Download DraftKings and play for the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligible restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Up, dog. We talk about National League a lot. This guy's a National Leaguer. You came through again, hooking the boys up at Missin Curfew. Who we got this week, up, dog?
He's a National Leaguer and he dresses National League hopes. We definitely know that. And we saw it last week at the Winter Classic and we got to dive into it. But this guy is one of my favorite young teammates I've ever played with. And I didn't have enough time with him before he just started to take off and shoot to the moon. But the starting goalie for the St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup winner, Jordan Binnington, my boy, how are you? Thanks for coming on Missin Curfew. What's shaking, fella?
Fellas, happy to be here. Happy to chat with you guys for a little bit. Mid-season, just after Christmas. So let's just looking forward to chatting.
Kind of in the dog days of Obi and I often laugh where we're like, hey, come to that game 30 to game 55, 60. Things start to get a little repetitious here. You got to find a way to stick in it. But I'd say playing a game in like minus 30 weather in Minnesota come January 1st is probably a good way to just wake up out of the dog days. Yeah,
I think an event like that you look forward to, right? And something to work towards and you know it's coming. Kind of like those breaks that, you work towards the Christmas break, work towards the All-Star break. Just breaks it up a little bit. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. My first one, obviously, and it was a really cool experience overall.
That's one there, if you're playing guilty and you go up for your first shift, your hangover's gone up, dog. Even for warm up, you're like, all right, boys, I'm fucking ready to rock. So, Binner, listen, buddy.
Your hangover's gone, Obi, and so are your nuts because they're just like right up inside you. You're like, oh my God, this is real.
This is real. And Binner, I hate on the Winter Classic sometimes with Uppy. Like, Uppy loved the experience. I never played in one. I never really wanted to. For one reason, I wanted my New Year's Eve night, and I just wanted to have a nice day hung over on the couch on January 1. But I was watching you guys the other night, and you guys came out of the gate hot, and you didn't have a shot on you for the first, 5-10 minutes? And I'm sitting there in my bed. I'm like, how's Binner doing down there? So how cold were you at the start of that match?
Yeah, I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes for sure. As a goalie, a lot of the time you want to get that first shot to kind of feel like you're in the game, but I kind of just stood there and I was rocking back and forth, just kind of stay warm. And those TV timeouts were huge, really, because we'd go to the bench and I'd just get the trainers would give me a bunch of heat packets and just could dry off my nose. And like, it was weird. It was so cold. I didn't sweat a drop, nothing. My nose would just run a little bit, but it was strange, man. So it was definitely a unique experience. And waiting for that first shot was, I don't know. It's got to be patient sometimes.
Yeah, you're like, somebody turn it over here so I get a 2-on-1. Or maybe not a 2-on-1 on your first shot, but someone make a mistake.
Boys, I got to be honest. I was sitting in a bar in Aspen, a little Mexican joint, and watching the game, and I'm thinking, this is the lock of the century. This under 6 goals that I just took is the lock of the year. These guys are just freezing. They can't hold on to the puck. They're not. And then it's like 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals. You guys just started absolutely peppering. By the start of the second period, it was like 4-0. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, here goes that bet. Here's my money, DraftKings. How do you like that? But no, that was a high quality game. I thought you guys played good. your young guys again stepping up. What are these young guys like on your team right now, Jordan?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's crazy how it always amazes me how Vegas knows the over-unders. It's just blows my mind. But those boys were hot and flying in that cold weather. Kyrou Thomas. We got some good young D-men, and the boys were playing well together, and it's fun, and they work hard too. So it's good to see them get rewarded.
Absolutely. Did the young guys buy into the? I got to ask you about the attire. And just showing up looking like studs walking into the Miami Beach.
I thought you guys were walking into Wet Republic in Vegas or something. So I'm like, holy
did the All-Star break start already? What's this? So whose idea was that? And you had everyone on board. It looked awesome. And when you do that, obviously, you're a gamer, Binner. You got to show up and play, and you guys did. So who was the mastermind behind the old short shorts and nut huggers?
We went back and forth for a while, like. Krugy and I were trying to kind of spark the conversation months prior. Hey boys, what are we going to wear to the Winter Classic? We're throwing ideas out there. And then 2 days before the group chat goes off, it's, hey boys, what are we going to be wearing? What do you guys think we should wear? And then people are chiming in. We end off at Lumberjacks. I'm sure you guys heard we got like 30 Lumberjacks sitting upstairs. And then the day before, or the 2 nights prior, we're like, I don't know if that's it. And then I think Oura came up with the idea, and then it took a couple guys to help move the idea along. Some guys were not into it. It's a little bit out of some guys' comfort zone for obviously it's a big game. You're in the NHL. If the game doesn't go well, it's kind of tough. They're like, what are we going to do? Walk out of there after a loss with the Wet Republic gear on. And, but then we did a vote, and I was surprised. I left the room at one point, and the Lumberjacks we were switching back to a suit, full suit. And then, I came back in, and somehow I think Fact Daddy actually, swayed a bunch of the team's minds. And, next thing I knew, it was a 13-10 vote. And, we were going, beach outfits.
I love that at the end of the day, you got to put it to a vote. And I love the fact that he had her down to about the second button with the chest hair flowing. But in his hand too, he had the 3/4 jacket that he just decided maybe he might have to throw on at one point. Did you notice that, Binner?
Yeah, the boys, I think it was all about the accessories and that, but we didn't really have much time to round it up. We were hitting the road at like 2:00 or in the afternoon that day. So, yeah, the boys, I was impressed with some of the outfits, man. It was funny on the bus ride over too. We were joking, when you pull up, when you're in Vegas with your boys and you pull up in a party bus and the door opens and the music's just blasting and you're kind of joking, we should have rolled up like that. But again, last minute. So maybe next time, but it was, I'm happy we did it. We kind of figured like when we're 50 years old, looking back, looking at the pictures of you coming off the bus, walking to the rink and the beach wear is a lot more fun to look at than you just going in a suit and going, you know what I mean? So
100%, 100%. And obviously it's great you guys won the hockey game, but I think win or lose, it was a great thing for you guys to do. And I respected the guys that came in with the button even undone. Like maybe the boys were a little nervous early, but once they embraced it, Binner, the guys had the shirts open, the floppers on, the nut huggers on. It was amazing. Yeah. Some guys had no shirts. It was good. It was good. Some guys brought coolers with pineapples in it. Yeah, it was fun. What did Vladdy wear? Vladdy slicked back the hair. It looked pretty good. Yeah, he was ready to go. But I don't know. I think a little button up and shorts and some nice flops, probably. Hey, sticking on along the lines of fashion, you've always had pretty good style. Toronto kid, always wearing nice shoes. Real good style. Solid style and in net. But since Obes and I have left the game, there's been a change of the guard in how guys are allowed to dress, for one. And just you being creative, being your own brand, what that's all about, and you're doing good at it. What have you seen? Like, what could you tell me and Obi that, you've noticed in the last couple of years, the way these guys dress, what they're allowed to do, what they're wearing? You got Matthews he's always got the little fanny pack going and the hoodies. I'm like,
What are the boys throwing around when you're on the road?
I feel like the style has just switched to more comfort. I think it's rare you see a guy, dressed up, wearing a jacket that, it just fits perfectly. It's more these young guys, a lot of the time they're wearing, joggers with flip-flops and socks. I actually went to Napoli, Napoli in St. Louis.
Love Napoli. Love it. Tony.
It's a great spot. I went there with Tomer the other day and he wore socks and Gucci flip-flops, and Chaser was there and he takes a picture of him. We're sitting at the bar, calls him out, but I don't know. It seems to work. You got the tall socks too with the runners and shorts, and it's kind of do whatever you want. If you're a young guy and you just rock it, if you own it, I think it's a go.
It says so much to the way the league is too, with younger guys and them just having confidence to either wear that and then show up and play and like back it up. Back in the day, Obes, it took like how you used to get chirped by probably Randy Carlisle walking on the plane with sunglasses on. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But I kept my sunglasses no matter what. That way, if I was hungover or not, typically I was hungover, but you had to wear the shades on every day because if you forgot a day, then they might know. But yeah, I wore my shades every day on the plane, 100%.
Smart. That's smart.
But Binner, I want to ask you the last thing on the Classic. I take some heat. I loved watching you guys play, but I just thought like the puck was bouncing this and that. From a fan's perspective, now the camera. But from a guy who just did it, would you want to play another one? Do you think it's a good idea for the NHL moving forward to keep these things humming?
Like I said, I really enjoyed the experience. I think obviously when you win, it's a lot smoother and everyone's happy. But I'd say we enjoyed it. It was really cold for sure. And it's a little bit of a different game, but I think I enjoyed it. I think it's good for the game, and I think it gives people a different perspective. Just having that many fans in the stadium, the fireworks, just it's an event, it's a show, and I don't mind mixing one in every couple of years. Don't need to do too many a year or something like that personally, but once in a while, I think it's good, and it's a rare experience, and I think we all had fun with it. And after the game, we were all just in the room. We had a couple beers and just talking about it, stayed in our gear for a while, just thawing out, and that stuff that would never have happened if we didn't do all that. Right. So stuff that you remember.
Hey, Binner, so you guys were in the visiting room at the Twins. So I was like thinking, was there a hot tub in there after the game for you boys? Could you after the game, you just sit around and you wouldn't even want a beer really? It was so fucking cold probably. Was there a hot tub or anything you could jump in?
No, there's the cold tubs, which, Fact Daddy, your boy always has cold tubs in between periods, right? So after the warm up, he went and had a cold tub and the boys were like,
no way.
Like, what? Are you nuts? and he did it. And then after that, he didn't go back in there. So he must have been a little chilly, but
there was there must have been a bottle of Jameson at the bottom of that cold tub.
What was nice was the shower. When you finally got in the shower, that's where you're like, all right, next
Good
I
win,
want a
boys.
Fireplace, something like that.
That's incredible. And there was nothing worse too. And after like a cold match, whether you had like the Igloo or something, you get into the shower last guy and the thing's just freezing cold. There's no towels left either. You're like, what the fuck?
The Igloo. Binner never even played in the Igloo. Did you ever play the old barn, Binner? No.
No, but I know bad towels.
Binner, you would have loved the old Igloo because you got to skate by the other team coming off the ice in warm-ups, and I could just see you just ripping
the zone.
Yeah. You would have been
It was like Chicago Wolves. It was basically like the Chicago Wolves where I was in a huge tilt right in that. Were you in that tilt too with Vince Dunn?
No, I wasn't.
When Dunner just absolutely pounded that kid basically in the Zamboni tunnel with the gates closed. We had the same brawl in Milwaukee in that same tunnel.
So did we.
And then the cops just shut the door and let everyone go at it. It's crazy. Fans there.
It's a crazy concept. You walk right by each other. You're like maybe 15 feet away and you're just yelling at each other before every period, after every period.
I remember the first time I played there, Binner, that there's like, 10 feet of concrete. I'm like, I'm a rookie. I'm like, if they think if this concrete's going to stop the boys from getting in a tilt here, they're fucking nuts. Like this concrete, it's not scaring anyone away. Like we had the biggest brawl there, like Kip Brennan. I forget who else they had. It was just a melee.
Yeah. I enjoyed playing there though.
Obi, we had that Jeremy Leblonsky on our squad, and he just signed this week at Steelheads, and he hit me up on Instagram because Missin Curfew loves like beauties like him.
Yeah.
And he's like, buddy, it's been forever. Fuck, I love your pod. We got to come on and talk. But he was right in the mix too on that. Like I'm talking, this is back in the day when there's heavies and no one can stop these guys either. So that was all good. Benner, let me ask you, I know Obi wants to touch on like your game day routine and just what makes you tick as a goalie, because you're so damn competitive. Could you bring us into like, a game day for Jordan Binnington, what you're doing? You're obviously, we're going to talk about the house you're living at right now, but a game day in St. Louis or on the road, what is Jordan Binnington doing to get prepared?
I would say calm before the storm. I'm not too serious or too, on my own in the morning skate. It's go out there, feel the puck, go home, have eat pregame, have a nap, head to the rink. I really don't get too fired up. I try to time it well. You know what I mean? And, I know, the fire kind of comes from, it's kind of in waves. It depends on how I'm feeling that night, who we're playing, where the team's at, how the boys are feeling, what happens in a game. But, for the most part, I would say keep it pretty low key.
Binner, I wanted to ask you, like, I love your fire, and I would have loved to play in front of you because a lot of my goalies I played in front of, Luongo and Pax and on, they're like, oh, calm the fuck down. You're going bananas out here, where I think I would have fed off of you. My question is, like, between periods or TV timeouts, are you vocal with the boys at all? I mean, I know Fact Daddy loves your competitiveness, but will you talk to the boys during a game, or is it, hey, once the game starts, just let Binner kick and he's going to do his thing?
I would say I would keep more to myself, I would say, unless it's a different occasion. But for the most part, for the time, like since so far in my career, I kind of just focus on my job, because goaltender, stuff happens so fast, and you always got to be prepared for whatever's coming and try to, the mindset to give your team a chance to win. So the more you put on your plate, I think, isn't always necessarily better. And I think that's where in the locker room, I think, our team especially does a good job of that. Jenner, Vladdy, Ulrei, Bobo, Scandal, like the boys speak up and are chiming in, talking between periods. And I think it's a feel thing, right? You've been in the locker room, and certain guys speak up more than others and in different times. And I think everyone plays a different role at different times. You listen more when a certain guy's talking, but kind of going on there. But for me, I would say I keep to myself and try to just focus on the game plan for myself, which in turn hopefully is better for the team.
There's moments in hockey where guys take it upon themselves to do something that's going to be, create energy or basically make a statement for their hockey team to get them going in the right direction. And you are number 1A for a goaltender to take it upon himself. When is it, do you realize like, hey, this is my opportunity? You're not obviously thinking about it before the game, but like moments in games. I watched you the other day in Winnipeg where you fucking launch your helmet into the corner after making 2 great saves. You kind of get hit, your chin straps off, the ref doesn't blow the whistle. You're like kind of always, ready to make something happen, whether it's crazy, and wanting to fight the other goalie or swinging your stick at someone. Those moments, like, have you always been fiery like that? And have you been able to, realize there's moments I need to do it and there's moments I don't?
Yeah. When I think about that, I think about looking back in my career from my early days in minor hockey, junior hockey, especially, and then East Coast League. My first year pro was in the East Coast, and I would mix it up like that. And I found, I don't know, I always admired how when guys played hard and when goalies played hard in particular. And I felt it's actually part of the story, because I kind of felt like I got away from that for a couple of years in the middle. And then I kind of realized, I was like, wait a minute, that's when you enjoy what you're doing, and you kind of, you like to adapt and keep it interesting, I would say. And, cause I don't know, when things are always the same, I like to change it up every so often. And I think, that's what makes it fun for me and competitive. And I want to play hard. And, so that just, sometimes it happens, and yeah, you can't do it all the time, I would say. And, sometimes the emotions get the best of you, but, yeah.
No, and you're playing for the right coaches with Otter and Berube, who both played on edge their whole career, who both, realize that they have a competitor in net who's going to go out and do things that is, it's going to bring energy to the team. And I was watching you guys game 3. I went to the Stanley Cup final. I was sat with Flowers, of course. And, game 3, you guys got shelled and you were getting pulled, Binner, and you skated by their bench. And I was watching you, I was third row in the corner, and I watched you and you skate by and you fucking chirped their whole bench. And I'm like, Binner just chirped their whole fucking bench after getting pulled. This is exactly what he needs to do. He knows that this is, what, fucking game 3. Fuck you guys. You got me tonight. Let's go. I'll see you at game 4. Like, fast forward this fucking thing, but that's just your fire. And it's something that Bertuzzo loves in you. It's something that O'Reilly loves in you. It's the first thing they say when I text them and say, how's Binner? Like, how's he doing? We have him on the pod, and he's like, that's what you are to them. So that's special. Teams need that. It's why you're getting fucking paid the big bucks now, and you got a Stanley Cup to your name. But I just love that. I think more goalies need to take that on to be more engaged and more fiery.
Yeah, it's definitely a different part of the game. And I don't know, players do it too, right? Bortuz is a guy who steps up, and it's kind of reading situations. And yeah, like I said, I don't know. I just enjoy playing the game hard, and I've always looked up to guys who played the game that way. And yeah,
I got to ask you, there's been some great goalie fights out there over the years. And when I knew you're coming on up here, what's your favorite goalie fight of all time when you're watching it? I think off the top of my head is Potvin versus Hextall back in the day when Potvin fucking stroked him. But what goalie fight jumps out to you growing up that you're like, fuck, I wouldn't mind getting out there and chucking him?
Chucking him. Honestly, I was going to say that fight. Yeah. That's the first one that came to mind. They just go toe to toe, and Hextall always, he always had a little bit of a scene when you lose his shit. And, but that one was, that was incredible.
Fucking Potvin got the better of him.
I know. I remember watching as a kid. I was at home. I'm like, fuck, Hexy's going to pump the cat here. And then got his bucket and just started the chainsaw on him. I was like, heads up.
I thought you were going to say Ray Emery and Marty Biron.
That was a one-side. That was a one-sider.
Yeah, that was a one-sider. But Patty Waugh and Mike Vernon had a good one too. Playoffs, right?
Was it Patty Waugh and Osgood?
And Osgood, my bad.
That was a dandy.
I wonder what the most recent goalie fight is. I can't even think of it.
I can.
Is it
Mike
Cam
Smith
Talbot?
versus Cam Talbot?
That's right.
Yeah.
Smitty's tough too. He's he's long and lanky.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
Peter, how many career tilts you been
in? Just one.
But hey, the one with Copley?
Yeah, I've had a couple square ups, and then the refs come in.
I was just going to say the better question is how many could have you been in? He could have been in 20 already in the show from which I've seen. So I love it. Fuck, I wish I had D-men like that had that piss and vinegar in them.
Yeah, the only one was against Copley there in the jungle, and we're boys too, so it was a little different, but just circumstances. He was kind of like, "You want to go? Come on, they'll love it." We were up 4-0. I had a shutout going. That's the first thing my dad texted me after the game. He's like, "What are you doing? You had a shutout going." And I'm like, "Man, relax." But yeah, it was. That was that.
You're like, Dad, no one's going to remember the shutout in the jungle, but they're going to remember the scrap. All right. So that's why I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And Obes and I often talk about our old man, my dad, Big Scott, his old man, Pitter, and how involved they were, just with our careers and our game, whether it was good or bad, them knowing what to text or if they should text at all. And, on the father's trips, has your dad been a big part of your career? And And if so, what's that relationship like? Do you guys talk often? Does he critique your game? Obi would hate when Pitter critique his game all the time. He's like, come on, Pitter, fuck.
Well, you just ripped me.
Yeah. Well, that's the best. They hold us accountable, you know?
That's true.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah, I'd say he's the biggest. He still has some follow-up texts, and you know, sometimes if it's a game where there's no follow-up text needed, he won't hit me with it. But yeah, he's good with it, and he says things sometimes where I'm like, wow, he has a good feel for the game, and he's been watching every game every year for however many years. So yeah, it's a nice supporting and just having him there for sure.
Binner, I want to talk to you. Updog brought up Vladdy, and obviously I play with Factor, a good friend of mine, but I felt like I've got to know you guys' team over the years through Uppy and Factor, and I just want to talk about, like, you know, Vladdy coming into that dressing room, the way you guys handled it, the way he handled it. It's pretty impressive of a group of guys that just said, hey, let's put this behind us and move forward here on both sides, and it's been a great story. Yeah.
Well, he had a tough go for a long stretch there, and dealing with injuries and uncertainty and like the COVID breaks, and tough to get in a rhythm after not playing for so long. And you know, we all know how talented he is and how good he is. And he really, I mean, he came to camp, came to work this year for sure. And he, you know, I think he was motivated and had a little bit of just proving people wrong and shutting people up in him, which I think is good every once in a while with people. And yeah, so we're all really happy for him, and he's been a great leader for us. He always has been. And it's crazy how things get blown up in the media. It's just, they don't know what's going on behind closed doors sometimes. But, you know, I care about him. We all care about him a lot. And obviously we're doing well this year as a squad. And we got some fellow Russians with Buchnevich and Barbashev. You know, we got Klim Kostin too. We got a deep Russian squad, and they're having fun and playing together. And it's fun watching them playing on the ice together too. It's special to watch.
I love that. I love that. A lot of
beluga vodka on the planes after the game. That's for damn sure.
Oh, nice, yeah.
That line has been playing epic for you. And when you talk about Vladdy, leaders are, you know, defined in each, you know, everyone's different in the way that they lead. And Vladdy, it's so hard when you're a pro athlete and your body just, you know, isn't cooperating and it's not healing, and you're dealing with these things. And a shoulder for a guy that plays Vladdy's style of game and shoots and engages and plays physical, you're just not yourself. And I love the way Army has, you know, handled that whole situation, just to get back on it, because it could have been a very easy, like, you know what, thanks for all your service, Vladdy. You won a cup here, you know, time to move on. But there was still belief that, hey, this guy deserves a shot when he's healthy. We're a better team when he's here. We just traded for Buchnevich, who's going to play with him and be a big center for him. And we got it. You know, it's worth our, you know, it's worth our effort to keep him here and make it work. And he did. And it's a big reason why, you know, Doug Armstrong's the GM he is, and why your team's off to, you know, another hell of a start. So it's Vladdy's a world-class sniper, and you just can't replace that. Like, Seattle would have loved to have a Vladdy on his team, but they don't, and they can't score.
Seattle would have liked to have a few more guys on their team than they got right now up top.
Obi, we should dive into the Olympics a little bit with our boy Binner here, because obviously, you know, losing World Juniors is one thing. The NHL guys not being able to go to the Olympics and play for their for their team respected countries is another thing. Binner, you were right there in the mix. We've obviously, Obi and I are going to drop our Olympic team, you know, who we would have picked on our Olympic team one day here shortly. But you were right there. Were you excited for this opportunity to play this year and to show that, you know, you're one of Canada's best goalies and a chance to compete for an Olympic gold? And just, you know, the difficulty with this this situation with COVID and, you know, being handcuffed and then ultimately the NHL saying you guys can't go. What was that feeling like? And then, you know, is there an end goal to play for your country and win a medal at some point for you?
Yeah, I'll start with that. Absolutely there is. obviously this year's is what is this year, but and it's unfortunate for guys who this was their time to go, and they were looking forward to this and building for this and excited to play. So that's a tough part of it, but for me, for sure, it's something that I'm going to strive towards. And, it's a big stage, and that doesn't get much bigger than that. So that's kind of why you play, and that's why you go to work and put that work in for moments like that, to be a part of them. So, it's unfortunate how it played out. Obviously with it being in China, I think made it a little difficult with the restrictions there, or the rules there, and lack of power from us here. I don't know. I know a lot of guys are frustrated, and as they should be, that they're not able to go. And but for me, I'm thankful that hopefully I can take another run at it. And but it's unfortunate, and I think it would have been exciting. And I think the Olympics are special when you got the best players in the world from all over every country, and it's definitely fun to watch from what I've seen. So, yeah.
Binner, I'm with you on the Olympics. I thought it was always going to be tough for you guys to go because, like you said, it was in China. But when I mentioned like a World Cup to you, like you're one of the top goalies in the league, a Canadian guy. Like if we brought back the World Cup consistently, and you guys knew like every 2 years, here's it's going to be. I know it's not the Olympics, but I think it's something that we could maybe build some momentum towards, where it's best on best every 2 years or whatever moving forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't thought about that, but it's just that competition, that extra competition keeps it interesting. I mean, that sounds pretty good.
Plus we could go Uppy. We can go watch too. It'd be nice.
There's always good parties on those 2 week tournaments in Toronto, Vancouver. But you know what else, Binner? It takes away for a guy like you who, let's not say you're a late bloomer, but your story began a little bit later in your career. Is these opportunities to play on the Olympic team with such amazing other world-class athletes that you begin to know and learn from and watch them compete on such a high level. And, whether you're net mining with Carey Price or Marc-Andre Fleury, two guys that have competed against you for the last little bit, and seeing how they work, and then, blending into a team playing for your country. It's just, there's so much that you lose when something's taken away from an opportunity to play in the Olympics that, don't go to the Olympics, but there's this chance to have these relationships with these, amazing guys that I just think is unfortunate, because you've worked your whole career to get to where you are, to have the success that you had. And now you're in talks to be, the goalie on Team Canada. And that, it just drives me nuts that those opportunities get taken away. That to me is just so unfortunate, because there's so many new stories that can happen from it. Right. And I want these guys in the league to know who Jordan Binnington is, because he's fucking badass and he wants to fight everyone if they come in his crease. But then he goes and wins a Team Canada Olympic medal. It's like something you can build your story on. And I know you're big on that. So I'm always an advocate for being able to go play for your country and compete for gold medals in the Olympics. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oops.
Yeah, it's too bad it didn't work out. But I was just going to ask you about, we got to give some love before we let you go here to big fucking Bobby Bertuzzo. This guy, I had dinner with him. I had dinner with him, Binner, when you guys came out here, a couple months ago, and he had a fucking
took him golfing.
He had a grapefruit on his ankle, like that big. And I was like, fuck, Bobbo. He's like, yeah. And me and Factor were joking about, but just talk about a guy like that who's in and out of your lineup, that's blocking biskies. Like, he's such a big, important piece to your locker room.
Yeah, that's it. You said it right there. He's fun to be around, and being out there with him. I don't know if you guys saw that shift he had against Florida on the PK in overtime. He was diving everywhere, and he lays it all on the line for the boys. And he loves the game, loves the lifestyle, and the game needs guys like that. And I think I'm happy I got to know him over the last couple of years, and definitely a guy you love playing with.
And there was just another guy I wanted to touch on. Torrey Krug, you guys bring him in last year. And last year, I don't have to tell you, Binner, it was such a fucked up year. The guy comes from Boston. He's bounced back this year. He seems like an old school pro. He must be a fun guy to play behind, you know, because he competes. You talk about competing. He competes every night.
I remember when we first signed him, I was pretty excited because I was thinking back to, you know, playing against him or seeing clips of him, and he's an intense player and he cares a lot. And I think, obviously I've told you guys, I like guys who played hard, and he's definitely one of those. And so it's funny getting to know him a little bit, and he's just a really nice dude, great family man. And he plays well. It's the same thing, you know, people were saying the same thing about Falker, but these guys, like a couple of years ago, but these guys are, you know, they're great players. And it's, you know, it gets blown up in the outside world, but we know what's going on inside the room, and how hard everyone works, and how talented guys are. And sometimes it's just opportunities are coming at different times. And so I think he's been a great add for the boys, obviously, in the last couple of years, and a big part of our team, leadership too. Him and Falker are a good unit there. And it's we got a good squad, and it's a lot of fun. And you know, we don't need to talk about it. We go out there and just compete together and have fun doing it.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the makeup of a good team. Binner, is there anyone, I'm going to throw this at you, is there anyone in practice on your squad that you just can't figure out or can't save, like me at BioSteel camp when I was fucking just absolutely going bar Mexico on you every other shot?
Hey, you didn't know where it's going. That's why Binner didn't know where it's going at BioSteel camp. He's like, this upshow doesn't know
I
where
knew where it was going. I had it written down right here. You got to bring up the fact you couldn't save one puck on you at BioSteel camp.
Uppy's a guaranteed 2-on-1. He's trying to no look 5-hole.
Yeah,
that is very true. Offside. Look at the path. Look at the shooter, and then just fucking. How are you, 5-hole? I scored in the Philly. Alumni.
Here we go.
Did you? Oh man,
I sure did. One of my 3. No big deal.
Against Mike McKenna, the biggest fucking suitcase going.
Yeah, I mean, Vladdy, like we said it every year, and just it's like it's the same release, but he can put it anywhere in the net. It's
nuts.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's a special release. And but I don't know, these young guys are good too. They can rip it. And Kyrou, Tomer can shoot the puck too. So but I would say Vladdy is still the only guy that you never really know where he's going, which is pretty wild.
I'm gonna go the other end of the spectrum. In my category, who's the one guy that comes down, Ben, and you're like, this guy's got no chance against me? Like, let me go down the depth chart here, where I would be, where you're just like, hey, O'Brien, you got no fucking chance of getting one by me here. Is it Bertuzzo? Is it Bobble? Can Bobble rip it past you?
No, Bobble changed up his pattern, I think, a year ago or over the summer maybe. And
he's got no heel curve anymore?
No, he switched it up, and he's snapping it pretty good.
Hey, how about the goal Bobble scored for you boys? I believe it was in San Jose. Remember, Binner, the backhand fucking short side titty? I was like...
The backhander heard around the world is what that was.
Yeah. That was a big one.
That was huge.
Our boy Bobble.
Before we let Binner go, didn't Binner have a little updog story he wanted to tell the boys here when he first met you?
Yeah, and then I got one on Binner I want to tell.
Right,
it makes him an absolute legend.
All right, yeah. So I was thinking of something to say, some Uppy stories, because I played with him. I played with you just on call ups. I'd come up for a week or 2 weeks or 2 days, and I always heard about the Up Dog even before he was in St. Louis, the legend he is. And one time I remember whenever I got called up, it was Hitch, and I didn't even have a look of playing a game. So I would just be the backup goalie. I'd be out there for practice and taking the extra shots. And I remember one game there was like the extras had a skate. It was a day off, and we were in Chicago. And there's like 5 or 6 of us, and Uppy just went no chin strap for the whole skate. Like, and I was coming from the minors, and this guy was just fuck this. And no chin strap the whole skate, every drill, whole practice, and then got off right away.
You know, I remember vividly a young Jordan Binnington, and you had already been in our organization in St. Louis for quite some time. But when I got there, we had Jake Allen and Elliott. And when you get called up and in training camp, you weren't able to be yourself, but you were around me, and we would chat. And I'm like, buddy, listen, you're a fucking sick goalie. You're an unreal guy and teammate. You're going to get your chance. Just like, it's just this bullshit. And I dealt with it when I was younger in Milwaukee, like minors, and you just trust it. Right. So let's fast forward 4 years, you get your chance and you fucking turn it into what it was, the first Stanley Cup in St. Louis history. And I remember I flew to Vegas. I left Uppy at Big Canyon Golf Club where we play golf, and I flew to Vegas and I met you guys after your team dinner, the first night you're in Vegas. And I hadn't seen the Stanley Cup yet, nor have I touched it, and I still haven't. But I walk onto this, you talk about a Sprinter van playing tunes. I come on this bus, and Binnington is in the back next to the stripper pole, and he's got the cup around his arm. And I come up to him and I'm just like, fuck, buddy. I'm kind of emotional. I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you. And you go, Up Dog, do you remember when you told me like your time will come? And it's just like, you know what? You know, I wasn't having fun because it just wasn't right. But one day I'll get my chance to tell a story, and this, you know, and my story will be mine, and I'll own it forever. You looked at me and you're like, I got my fucking story to tell. And I was just like, this guy's so badass. And I'm like, you deserve every bit of it. And then of course we got to go and do our thing and party. And I was grateful to be there. It was all your team inviting me there that made it special. But it's just, I'm happy for you. No one deserves a good competitor like you. Always deserves a good story to tell, and you got one. So, man, just from an older teammate of yours, I loved it. It was epic.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Those are two great stories. But no, that was special. That was a lot of fun on that trip. Just reminiscing, looking back on what it took to get there, and just celebrating with the guys and everyone being so happy. It was a special moment. You know,
it was an epic ride, and we can't have you on without chirping flowers, Binner. One of our favorite things to do at Missin Curfew is rip flowers. So after you guys won the Stanley Cup, he texted me. He's like, Obi, I turned that season around. I went in there, took him to a Philly bar and played this song, and the rest is history. I'm like, yeah, or maybe Jordan Binnington had something to do with this since he's been in the league. They've lost 2 games, but flowers. What was your thought on him when you first met him? You're like, who is this clown, or what the fuck, Binner? How was he rolling with you guys the entire time?
Well, I heard about him in previous years on the trips the boys would do, whether it was Cabo or Vegas, and so it was a good intro for sure, because there's some good stories there. But I mean, just a fun guy. Like the fact that he had his own jersey, I don't know where he got it from.
He bought it.
It was just. He bought it and put his name on it. Yeah, it was just hilarious. And I mean, the boys ate it up. He ate it up. He got the full cup experience without stepping on the ice in a game. And I remember, I'm sure it's been told before, but when we were on the stage and Army was like, or I don't know who it was, someone in management was like, hey, who is this guy? Like, why is he with all the boys up here? But yeah, he's a funny guy, and he's gotten us done some transactions with him for some watches too. So it all comes around.
Yeah, I know. We like to give him a hard time, Binner, but he's a good team guy. So Binner, thanks, buddy. We really appreciate it. We're pulling for you guys here at Missin Curfew. I put a little scratch on you boys at the start of the year. So keep kicking in there, fella. We appreciate you taking the time. I know how busy you are, so keep it going. Say what's up to the Fact Daddy for me. Tell him to have a Jameson, and keep it going.
I will. You got it, boys. Thanks for having me on here. Love listening to you guys.
We love you. Congrats. Keep going. You got some more stories to tell, fella, so keep it rocking.
All right.
Up Dog, Good Life fella. We're here in Aspen. I got the beanie on. We got the long sleeve Henleys on. Looking good, feeling good, staying warm.
Look good, play good,
feel good,
ski half decent if it's for me.
Don't kill yourself.
I tell you what, the beanie. I remember you picked that thing out on Bleecker Street at the Good Life store.
What a store!
I walked through. I love the hat section they had there. Me went for that green cardigan and the hoodies. Everything we can rock up here New Year's Eve for Aspen. I'm telling you, the nice soft tees underneath. You layer up for the ski or the snowboard. I mean, you got to look good out there in the mountains. This time of year, Christmas time, everyone's open up their gifts, their Good Life gifts under the tree, hopefully. We're excited to be here. And on behalf of Good Life, we thank you for all your support. Our Curfew code is
Curfew 20.
Curfew 20 is our code. www.goodlife.com. We thank you. We hope you all have a safe and happy new year 2021. Let's see ya and let's fuck 22 together.
Good life, baby. Up dog, Binner. Thanks, buddy. What a great get for you. A guy that Fact Daddy talks highly of. Everyone talks highly of him. I love that he's got that piss and vinegar between the pipes. The story he told about you, it made my day. I mean,
I still don't know if it was me. I think I might have shrugged it off and said, I'm not sure what you're talking about. But
I was having a pretty good day to begin with back out here in Southern Cali. But when he told that story, woo, was that good stuff?
You know what? That kind of brings you back, though. Eh? What a life we had, Obes, back in the day. And I'm... All I can say,
what a league,
is, you know what? I took pride in being a good teammate. I took pride in having great teammates. And those teammates are guys like Jordan Binnington, Rob Bertuzzo, Jaden Schwartz, Braden Shen, Stasny, Steiner. We had a great group in St. Louis. So listen, I never played with Riley's. Fuck, I wish I did. But
you get the gist. You went to Bonnaroo. Hey, you went to Bonnaroo with them. That's better than playing with them is going to Bonnaroo with them.
That is very, very true. That's very true. And thanks to you, we got to experience Fact Daddy at Bonnaroo. Yeah. And it made Bonnaroo better. But it just in full circle about being an athlete and getting to compete with your buddies and sharing these stories. Like the fact that he remembered something like that is all time. Like I remember stories of older guys doing things that I was like, this is so badass. These guys are living in the show and they're just like, they're fucking living their lives and they're having fun. And we'll always remember these stories. Right. So, you know, play hard, party hard, show up for your teammates, be a good guy. And that's the way you live by. And Jordan Binnington, I'm so happy with the success he's had. I'm so happy that he was able to come on our podcast and just share, you know, moments. And this kid's not done. He's not done. He's got a great team. They got a great organization. They have a great team. They got great young players. Vladdy's playing his ass off. Shaq in the lineup. Bertuzzo's getting out of COVID protocol. He's be blocking shots with his face here soon. This is a team that's just, their story's not done, Obes. And I love sharing that with Binner, but their story's not done. And I hope they go and win another one.
I'll tell you what, there's lots of reasons to cheer for the St. Louis Blues team. You named a lot of them right there. And there's another reason. Through my DraftKings app, my futures bet that I got the St. Louis Blues to win the Stanley Cup. I have pretty good odds. So, hey, listen, I'm cheering for the Fact Daddy, of course, Bobo, all the boys there. Binner now, I got to meet him through you. But I got some skin in the game, up dog. So I'm all in on the Blues and Avalanche. So to Binner, thank you very much. Up dog, thank you for getting him, buddy. Thanks for all your hard work there up in the slopes. Don't kill yourself. That was Missin Curfew.